All right, let's get this show going. All right, it is Tuesday, right? Yeah. I'm a little spaced out right now. You know how the days kind of blend together? I lost track of time earlier, and then I'm forgetting what day it is, but that's okay. I managed to get this drawing of a bee with a skateboard done. I'm proud of that one. It looks goofy. There's a lot of sketch improvements I need to do. I tried. This is totally unrelated to what I'm going to be doing today, but I'm going to talk about it for a second because it's just on my mind. I attempted here with these arms and stuff like that to do foreshortening, and here on the skateboard, right? Foreshortening is you have a 2D thing, right? But the tips of my fingers are huge in the frame, right? Because they're really close to the camera. And you can't see most of my hand or even arm, right? So foreshortening is drawing that aspect of things. So a lot of my drawings are really flat, right? Because I draw at a simple angle, or it's a cylinder, so you could draw it at any angle and it looks fine. And I want to slowly try build the skills necessary to make more dynamic poses of funnier or cooler things. So a B is an attempt. I'm not, as you can tell, great at it yet, right? But yeah, I'm pretty proud of this as a start anyway. And it's a dumb little joke, so I'm happy with that. Oh, before I hop into regular stuff, I actually do need to test. I had to reconfigure my mic. I want to make sure that the audio channels are coming out of left and right, not just left. So I'm going to attempt to figure that out for a second. I need to go over here. Let me just... Oh. Come on, headphones, don't do me like this. I love technology, but I kind of hate technology, I'm trying to connect these. I connected to my Mac. Now I want to connect them to my phone again. It should be easy, but apparently I have to click a button. Heaven forbid I click a button. Jeez. All right, all I'm doing is just checking my audio, so bear with me. Okay. Okay, it sounds good, I think. Okay. Let's just keep that over like this. All right, that's all good. So today I've been chipping away at my SVG CLJ library a lot, and I've been steadily making good progress on it. I'm happier and happier with where things are going, but I'm going to shift my focus ever so slightly just for the day to give myself a mental breather from that SVG library. I'm still going to be using it, but I'm going to be using it for a specific purpose, and I'll try to show that a little bit. I'm just clearing up my desk space here. One thing I do need to do soon is build a nice stream setup where I can stand and work and kind of move things around more easily, like have this on an arm, maybe even have my monitors on an arm, and just have it all kind of just claws moving around. That would be way cooler. I gotta see if I can actually pull it off. We'll find out one day. But I am going to open up different folders here and get things going. So if I do all right, almost ready. Fear not. All right, let's pop on into this. Good to go. This REPL, I don't remember what it's from. I'm sure I'll need it eventually. So let's switch to design. The queen floor thing here. All right, so this may be a strange. I think I already have. Oh, I do already have the REPL for this. So let's just do this. There it is. Perfect. So let me do one of these. Not what I wanted to do. There it is. There we go. All right, so I have circle intersection up here on Wolfram, and I have another little example here. What I'm going to try to do is boil that down into a function that I can run on this output. Let me think about if I've done this correctly or not. I might need to reload the dependencies here. Oh yeah, I don't have the right dep in here. Right, so let's go and fix that. So what I can do here, this is something I'm really happy to show actually. I have this library here that I can actually use a Git reference. So that means the library is actually stable enough that someone could pull it down with a specific SHA, secure hash, whatever that's called, or however it's pronounced, and actually use some of the functions. So I'm going to actually show that here by zipping on over to my GitHub and pulling the SVG CLJ. Now, at some point when I want to call it a version 1 release, I would like to have it so that you can just use the Maven repo and use that artifact. But I've never done that before. That'll be new for me, but I do want to do it. It's on the list of goals. But this is a really nice step in that direction. I can confidently look at this here. If I copy this URL, paste that in there. Oh, and I just have to move the SHA here into its own key. Easy enough. Get rid of this commit line here. How does that work again? I do believe you just have to do SHA like that and then paste that there. Oops, not that, that. All right, so let's make this just a little more legible. One thing I don't love is the formatting of the maps. Sometimes it's a little hard to understand. That's all really. Let's get rid of aliases because I don't need them in this case. In fact, I probably should just get rid of the Clojure script dep here because I am just doing this on the Clojure side of things. I'm not running a server, I'm just spitting files into the directory and reloading the file and stuff like that. So, okay, this should work. Let me fix up this namespace for a minute here. Require SVG CLJ as maybe I should just do SVG CLJ require all or refer all. See, the reason I kind of try to avoid refer all now is because a lot of the time I want to have my code be minimally different, or I want my code to be as compatible as possible between Clojure and Clojure script. And as far as I know, there is no refer all on the Clojure script side of things, so I just try to avoid it as practice anyway. But sometimes it's tempting to just use all on the Clojure side of things, especially when this is currently just going to be a simple project. You can always change it up later, so I'm going to leave it like that because why not? You know, I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to write some code. So I think, oh no, this is not quite right. So currently I still have everything in a .main because all the functions work in the SVG CLJ library, but I haven't organized them into their own more specific namespaces yet. I don't know why I used main instead of core. There's no actual reason for that, to be completely honest. It's arbitrary at this point. As far as I can tell, a lot of the time the word core is arbitrary as well. So the only downside is I might break a bit of convention here, but I'm not too bothered by it because this is not the final structure of the project anyway, so I'm just gonna deal. All right, but enough chit chat. Let's close this. Let's sysman quit and save this so that the files are saved with the new adjustments here, and see if that git dep will actually work. It should. I tried it this morning in a different project, so if it doesn't work, it's just a failure of syntax or something on my part. Looks like it worked. Now let's try run this and see if it loads. It does. Oh man, that is fantastic. I'm super jazzed about that. I think the way I've done this, it even I think this even works. It does not. Okay, that's oops, I'm making noises with my keyboard here. Oh, it doesn't get picked up on that anyway, so we're good. We are good to go. Right. What am I doing next? Let me just check this for a second. That things are running. Okay, got my timers running. Everything's up. Okay. Just out of sheer curiosity, I do notice after my streams, a couple hours later, they're usually, the view count on the streams goes up a little bit. I mean, I'm not talking massive numbers here, but so I don't know if those are like bots just watching or if they're actual humans. If you're an actual human who does watch these, who contributes to those view numbers, let me know. Send me a whisper or something, and let me know what you think about things, because it seems, unless I just don't understand how the view count works at all, that there's some people that tune in later on and don't actually catch it live. So if there's enough people that would actually benefit from a time shift in when I do these, that's something I can consider. But I don't know. I mean, I'm doing my best with things, and looking for feedback is really the gist of things. So if you're one of those people that watches at all after, either on YouTube or on VOD on Twitch, consider sending me messages and giving me feedback. You know, any bit's helpful. I mean, that's not true. If you're really mean and you're a jerk about it, that's obviously not helpful. But you know what? I trust people to be kind or well-meaning most of the time, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, but that's me blabbering on. Let's see that this actually works here. It does indeed. Okay, so what I've just done, is consume this library I'm working on through the git SHA. So it downloaded the code and compiled it into whatever, and put it in my class path and all that, and it's working. So the code that I'm having a look at here, I write all my code in an org file and I tangle it from there into specific spots. So this here, all of this is the code and bits, like little notes to myself, and it's messy because it's all in progress. The idea is this becomes, you know, with proper editing and stuff, the prose that's in here becomes part of the overall documentation, and it even renders reasonably well right in GitHub, so that's pretty nice. Anyway, all of this is tangled, the code blocks are, into main.cljc, and right now it's a lot of lines because it's not necessarily optimally designed. There's a lot of stuff I could probably pull in and out. Again, there's some stuff that should be in different libraries too, or namespaces in the same library, just to keep things a little more distinct. But as I'm writing everything, keeping it just in one and not worrying is kind of nice. Here's an example, right? There's a couple lines here that are entirely commented out. I just have to go through and clean up the code to get those things cleared up. You know how it is. I don't know why that's like that, but I do know why. So point is, this code is not cleaned up perfectly, but it works well enough that I can use it in other projects, which is exciting, very exciting for me, because it just is proof to myself that I'm getting closer to having a really nice library that I honestly think people could benefit from using. And that is really exciting for me. Okay, enough talking about how excited I am about this code. Let's try to run something here. Let's see if this will run. Yes, of course. I thought that well, okay, that's not perfect. Let's give this a try here. I do wonder if I can do hiccup.core refer HTML. It does work. Okay, so now, does it? Let me just double check that. Perfect. Okay, the reason that does work is because here in my namespace declaration for the SVG library, I have here some, I think, I always forget what they're called. I think it's reader conditionals. Basically, it detects, if you're using Clojure, it pulls in hiccup as a dependency. That does mean if you're using Clojure script, it does not pull in a hiccup renderer of any kind. The reason for that is because in my current use cases, I'm using it Clojure script side with reagent, and reagent already handles hiccup style syntax without any issues. This is probably something I will put in a default sane choice of library like Sublano or hiccups or something along those lines. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. I have to decide what makes sense there, because probably people will have their own preference for how to render hiccup, and I don't want to be opinionated there. I want to be opinionated on how to handle SVG, and everything else should kind of be up to the user still. So anyway, this is kind of convenient for me in the way I use it. Can change in the future. And here there's just a little check that pulls from cljs.reader the function read string into the main namespace when you're in the Clojure script side. And those are the only things that are different currently between Clojure and Clojure script. I'm really happy with that. I want these things to be as identical as possible. And I mean, that's pretty darn close. So especially considering I don't need, this one is not strictly necessary. So that's nice. I theorize as well that I could probably get rid of the read string dependency as well, but I don't have a clear idea as to how yet, but I'll get there one day. Okay. Test image doesn't work. Of course it doesn't, because I got rid of that. That's not in this namespace at all. What I do need is this queen's floor image, which I think should work. Okay, so I spit this SVG into a file out.html, and I should be able to open out.html and just render it here, unbound. Okay, well that's interesting. I have to figure out why that's the case. It should work. There we go. Okay, I don't know why it did that, but the problem is solved. Okay, so what is going on here? Oh, also before I do that, I have to I wonder if I deleted the floor image. And I'll explain why it's called the Queen's floor in a moment. But let me see if I can get it back. Unfortunately, I may have deleted the file I need here. Oops. Let's see what is going on. I wonder, maybe I have it in the downloads. Ah, there we go. Okay, so if I refresh this, there we go, it works. Okay. All right, so what's going on here? Let's pivot this to 0 rotation first of all, and let's hide everything else just to give a very brief explanation as to what's going on here. Okay, run, not that, this, refresh this. Okay, this is a floor tile pattern in the Great Hall of the Queen's house. I think it's the British Queen's refurbished house or something like that. I don't know. But if you search Queen's Great Hall floor, it does show up here. This is what it is. It's in Greenwich, London, so it's British. Anyway, this is the picture I used. I distorted it so that you get a kind of projection as flat as possible. Why am I looking at this? I'm working on getting the shape patterns so that we could maybe turn it into a quilt pattern of some kind. So this is a bit of a geometric challenge, and I'm just using my SVG library to kind of mess around with finding the tile shapes in a kind of clever way. So what am I doing? Well, first I observed on my iPad, I drew some rough shapes around this, and it turns out that the basic shape here, it's not lined up perfectly, but I'll get to that in a moment. The basic shape is circles, 32 circles, slightly offset, not exactly pivoting around the center point, or that's a poor way to explain it. Pivoting around the exact center point, but each circle is offset a little bit inward from that, center point. Then you just pattern 32 around, all 11.25 degrees separated. 11.25 is what you need to do to get exactly 32 circles repeating. Then the next thing, which I'm going to try to do, is find all of the intersection points of these circles up to this red line, and then use those intersection points to draw straight lines to get these quads, and then all of those quads just become the tiles, and then extracting all of the total numbers of all the unique tiles. So basically it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 unique pieces times 32 around. That is my guess. That's pretty much what it looks like. And then just kind of cleaning it up a little bit. And I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So the first thing I kind of want to do is see if I can just line this up a little bit better as a sanity check. I'm pretty confident that the blue circles I have are geometrically correct. It's just getting the proportions a little bit more aligned with the pattern on the floor. The obvious trick here is to not worry too much, because the image I have here is not distorted into a perfect square. It's a little bit off because the original picture was quite skewed, so I had to do some pretty major adjustment for it. But it does appear to be good enough, so I can use that to my advantage. Okay, enough of that. Let's see, what should I try to do? I think I want to move the what is a good idea? Here's what I'm going to do. I would like to temporarily hide the ring and everything else except this circle. I want to use this circle as the marker for the exact center line or center point. Oh, I didn't do it. Oh, I'm gotta hide that. So there we go. Okay, so this pink dot here is the center of the SVG elements. So I need to move the image just a bit to kind of visually line it up centered a little bit more. So I can actually do that using the translate here. I'm going to actually make a second translate. Again, this is really encouraging for me to see, because this is proof that my SVG library is functionally useful already. Like, I'm using it to do a different project entirely, and it's cleaner than it was ever before. Like, I would be pretty comfortable saying, hey, it's not a version 1 yet, but anyone, you can go look at this, fork it if you want, give it a try, and see what you think, because it works. So big win. Big win. Okay, this looks to me like I need to move it, I want to say 5 pixels to the right, and let's try -5 there. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should do only one direction at a time. How about that? So one little downside to just doing it Clojure side is I don't have a clean workflow for this kind of thing. Using reagent and Clojure script, I get hot reloading, so I don't have to refresh the browser myself. Sometimes I do this where I just manually refresh things for kind of one-off things, just because I don't necessarily want to load up reagent and all that kind of stuff anyway. I don't know. There's almost certainly a little thing I can do to make this smoother, like a file watcher and a automatic refresher kind of thing, but I haven't done that yet, so here I am manually doing it. Not too big a deal though. Okay, let's just do 2 pixels. Let's try that. I don't know if that's enough. Oop. Oh, silly me. There we go. That's pretty good. You know, let's do 2 and 1. Ooh, -1, I mean. Went the wrong way. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, now what I would like to do is draw a little line from (300, 300) to 350, 300, and then just color it with the same style. Oh, the stroke, hot pink. Let's just do red because it's a shorter word to write. Okay. Oh, gonna make it a little longer probably, but that's okay. Let's just make it 500. Why not? No reason not to. Okay, so what I'm doing here is just using that as a rough guide to maybe pivot the image. I'll just rotate it ever so slightly. Here, instead of 0, let's rotate it 1 degree and see what happens. That's kind of better. So this is what I mean with not wanting the image to be perfect, because it isn't perfect. If you look here, this point where my cursor's at is below the midline, and this point here is pretty much right on. If I make this 600, then I could see probably this is going to be maybe slightly above. So there's no pure rotation that I can do to the image that'll make all of those line up perfectly. This is either a distortion in the actual floor tile physically, or more likely some kind of distortion in the picture that I'm using. And that's just going to have to be fine. This is good enough for my purposes anyway. So now that I have these guidelines, I'm going to pull the ring back in. I'm going to put it beneath those guides. Let me actually just do a little ref geom, I guess. I'll call it that. For now, that's good. Let's undo this as well. Let's move it, because this is important. Let's move it right here. Save this. Run it. Okay, so here, now I can see the ring. I rotated it 3 degrees is not the right rotation. Oop. Let's try that. Okay, so with a 0 rotation, you can tell things are pretty close. Now, the trick is adjusting values just a bit to get things a little more in proportion. And this is where it's just fiddling with the variables a little bit. So there's 3 primary things to change here, and I'm going to change this into a function that lets me tweak those numbers directly. So I've got the what should I call it? The major radius, which is going to be the radius of separation, I guess you could call it. I'll rework the names in a minute. We've got the let's call it just R. So this R is specifically the radius of any one of the blue circles. It's going to show up here. I just delete this. Before I delete it, let me track it here. So some MR 152.5 is what I have here in the let, which I just remove. R is that. The angle is calculated here. That's fine. Since I know, so I have technically hard coded the 32 value in here, and I'm just going to leave it that way because I'm not making it parametric on the number of circles because I know it's 32. So for now anyway, that's fine. The angles thus are okay. Let me just think about this for a second. Here is all I really need to worry about. So I said 3 variables, there's only 2. I'm debating calling this not the major radius, but the offset. No, let's do it as the major radius. So what this means is here, let's do MR. Okay, here, if I let MR be 0, this is gonna it should render fine, but look a little weird. Oh, what have I done now? I messed something up. Let's try to fix this. Okay. Oh, here, this is what's wrong. Okay, so this should, the blue circles should all overlap each other and you just get one circle. So the major radius, if you make it equal, then every circle will be touching the center point exactly. That's what that means. And so if I make the major radius different, that will adjust the kind of offset the circle has. So that, I think, makes good sense. Now it's tricky. These two things are gonna kind of, I need to kind of adjust both at the same time to eventually arrive at a close approximation of the pattern here. So using the numbers I had before, I had the major radius -8, so it was then 144.5, right, as the major, and that should get us close. So here, for example, things line up. Yeah, it's just going to be a little bit tricky to get exactly what I'm looking for here. And you know what? That is going to be fine. I need something that doesn't have to be perfectly geometrically accurate, but is obviously the same structure. So I think this is going to get us close, which I'm happy to see. All right, let's spend just a minute or two trying to maybe get the numbers a little bit closer, and then I'm going to move on to trying to calculate intersection points of two circles. That's kind of the goal anyway. So once I have those intersection points, I can run it around all the circles and then use those points to start getting the actual quads I need. Hopefully I can pull it off. We'll have to see. I think there's probably some stuff I'm not thinking of, but that's, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Okay. So, what kind of adjustment would be good here? It's a little hard to tell. If anything, it looks like I should maybe, let's go like this for a minute. Let's do 175, and this will just do 145. See what happens. Okay. Things are off. Gotta say, I think this looks pretty cool. It's pretty, like this looks really neat here. I love that. Like a spirograph or something. But it's not the right parameters, so I'll have to keep working at it. It seems close-ish though. Where am I here? There. If I make this the same, in this case, that I don't think that's going to be right, but let's peek. Actually, you know what? Making them the same might be the ticket to success here. Let's do 160, 160. You know, that's maybe a good place to start. The reason I say that is because it looks promising to get these nice spikes here. See that? If I could find the right number, it does look kind of like that's a good possibility. Although, it's a little hard to be sure of that. Okay, let's go 50. You know, on second thought, I'm not quite as convinced as I was a moment ago. Let's go 155 and 145. That'll be close again, maybe. It's a little tricky because these line up fairly well. Here, here, here. This deteriorates and it doesn't anymore. This is okay. I'm gonna try this one more time as well, and then I might arrive at the same numbers I had before, but you know what? That's fine. What I've just done here is just reduced it to a single circle, and I can use that as a basis for kind of lining things up maybe a little easier. So oh, you know what I haven't done? What if it's not circles but actual like cardioid things, you know? I'm not going to do that. I think circles will get me close enough to what I need, but I do wonder if maybe it isn't actually circles. Or maybe the radius is bigger than I originally thought, you know? Maybe it sweeps almost straight through. Hard to say for sure. Let's try 250. Okay, that is kind of... No, that's not good enough. We're not lining up nicely with anything there, so it's smaller than that. Let's just kind of step down a little bit, one bit at a time here. It's not that either. That doesn't line up with anything. It's almost certainly right here. Swoop through there, swoop through this, into this here. So if I can get that, then we'll probably be pretty good. So let's go down to 200, 200. Oop. Let's go way down here. Oop, we're getting close. See, now this is a little weird, right? What happened? What does this look like at 150, 150? I think I had this a moment ago, so maybe I'm just kind of doubling over my own work here now. It's almost time to move on to trying to get the intersection points, because I can still tweak these numbers after I've got the intersection calculation, so I don't really need to worry this much about it anyway. But I want to get something kind of close. All right. You know, I think I will just adjust this back to what I had before. This is 152.5, and it was a difference of 8, which made this 144.5. Yeah, and we'll go with that. That's the closest I've been able to come with this so far, and I'm going to call it good. Okay, now I would like to try get this circle intersection stuff sorted out. See if I can do that. Boxes was something I don't need anymore. Hey Biz, how's it going? Hope you're doing well today. Let's see here. How's the weather where you're at? I looked out the window and it was snowing. I mean, yesterday it was snowing here like crazy. Snowing, actually, is it snowing now? It's not snowing at the moment. It's going. Not all good, not all bad, just kind of right in the middle. Okay, let's see. How do I want to do this? I'm trying to come up with a sort of simple way to calculate the intersection points of these circles. So, gotta go, bad cell connection. Okay, thanks for stopping in anyway. Have a good day, okay? I wonder if I could actually do something even easier and do an intersection with a circle and a straight line and just check every radial line, since I know that they're all separated by 11.25 degrees. I could maybe do that. I'll think about it. I am going to take a quick break. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. It won't be long. let's see what I can do here. Basically, I want to make a function that, given two circles, will return the intersection points. It can have infinite intersection points if they're the same circle, 0 if they're not touching, if they're not intersecting at all, 1 if they're exactly tangent to each other, or 2 otherwise. Right? Yes. And they can be exactly tangent to each other, you know, if they're touching like this, if one is inside the other one, just touching the edge, that kind of stuff. So there's a few circumstances. But I kind of think the easy way might be to pretty much do this. If I make two higher order functions, so I could make a function that returns wait a second, is that smart? Today is a day where I don't totally know what I'm doing, so I'm just kind of spitballing here. Well, so first of all, let's see if I can make an intelligible, let's do define parametric circle. And I want it to take in well, let's start with the very simplest thing, okay? So you give it a radius r and it returns a function that takes t as a single value, right? Does that make sense? And then trying too hard to be clever with this, and it's just not working in my brain, you know? I also had if I do dev forge of a boundary rep circle, that might do the trick for me. So here is the curved circle is what I was thinking of here. Just trying to think about if this is actually smart or not. I don't know. Maybe, let me see. Let me think about if this is a good idea or not. I mean, I could also do... Well, let me... You know what? Since I'm probably going to use the forge stuff anyway, I may as well use it properly. Right, let's give it a try. I'm going to have to restart the REPL, but that's not a big deal. Here, we'll put in forge.proto as f, and here we'll add I think that's fine. Oh, there was, I forget how I do this already. Oh. Let's do here, this is fine. This is what I want here. It's local. And it goes up 2 levels into my own dev library. So this is no longer very usable by other people, but this is not a final, this is not a important project. This is an internal project, really. Oop, that's also not what I meant to do. I meant to do this. Yeah, there we go. Let's get back to, here we are. Okay, let's try this again. Sessman quit. See if this will work. So far, so good. There we go. Oop. My bad. This is not a thing. There we go. Okay. Right. So, I've changed my depths a bit here. Let's 0 that. Open. Oop. Come on. There we go. All right. Here we go. Now we can maybe use some existing functions and make our lives a little bit easier. Maybe. Let's do f/line intersection, I think exists. So there's line segment intersection and we've got line intersection. Let's see. It just is 2 lines. Okay, so let's see what we can do with that. I realize I will need like a robust intersection solver or finder thing at some point. But I'm not going to worry about that all that much right now. Let's see here. Line, circle, intersection, calculation. This might be easier. We'll see. Hey, buddy. This makes me wonder if I should either find a Clojure solver library or kind of make my own. That would be maybe kind of fun. Not something I'm prepared to do at the moment, to be totally honest. Wolf from Math World. Circle, line, intersection. Let's see if that gives me anything useful. Seems to. Those are the circumstances. Okay. Okay, so this is a 2D case, which is all I care about, so that's fine. This dx dy makes sense, very straightforward. Dr, I guess, is the straight line distance between the 2 points, right? That's just Pythagorean theorem. This is the determinant, which is easy to calculate in a 2D case. It's just this exact formula here. I think, yeah, AB minus CD or whatever, or AD minus, I used to know it like from my brain, but now I don't remember it anymore. I just know that that is the determinant, and that's okay. So gives the points of intersection is this whole thing where you get two values with the plus minus situation here. Okay, well this is actually really good. So you can have you can conditionally check the number of intersections prior to running a calculation, which is really good. So maybe let's try to, you know what? Let's try to codify this, because this is not too difficult, I don't think. And, you know, if it is, then I'll just stop. This doesn't look too bad though. So let's try it. And what I'll do is make a little split here. Rendering the rings. Here we do line, circle, intersection. So I've defined some of these before, but let's just do them again for now easily. We've got a determinant. I'm going to do its point A and point B. So let's just do this. x1, y1, x2, y2. So the determinant here is very easy. It's just x, y, right, according to this. So x1, y2, x2, y1. Boom, that's the determinant. Let's define distance given the same inputs. Come on. You can do it. Boom, we've got that. which is, and you know what? Let's just be short-handed. I guess it's fine. Math / square root of, what am I looking at here? Oh yeah, you know, let's do a little let here. Dx is x2, x1, and dy, y2, y1, dx dy. Math square root is, or then the result, what am I saying? Then to get the distance, you just do math square root of the square of dx, so dx times dx, dy dy. That's pretty easy. So that's determinant and distance. So we've got boom, 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 boom. We've got those 4 functions all set up. Sine is, let's now do discriminant. There's a lot of D. Determinant, distance, discriminant. It's fine for now, though. Right, so how should I... Oh, no. Let's make this just a number, and then we can make the predicate. Is it a predicate if it has 4 possibilities? There's only 3 possibilities, actually. Okay, so. All you have to do... Wait, what is r in this case? Oh, r is going to be the radius of the circle, of course. Yeah, so I actually need here... Wait a second, is that... okay, so see this here. It's the circle is in this situation is guaranteed to be at 0, 0. So I do need to handle... I mean, so that's no real problem. It just means once I have the algorithm set up, I have to, when I run it on an arbitrary circle and an arbitrary line, I am required to calculate the center point of the circle and then use that to translate the line minus the x and y, so it's translated as if it were relative to the origin, and then run the intersection. So it's not a big deal, but it is important to know that up front. So what I'll do is x1, y1, x2, y2, and come on there, buddy. And then r. That order of arguments might not be a smart way to do it, but I don't know. I can't think of a way to justify it. Just it's arbitrary, so it's fine. Okay. I mean, this is easy to calculate, right? It's just, you just do times r squared. You know what? Let's do the let statement here. Let dr be dist. You know what? I can make this easier. AB since distance already handles that. And D is going to be determinant of AB Yes. Yes, very good. So dr, that whole thing minus determinant squared. Okay. So we got most of these. Then this sine star function is, that's pretty cool actually. Let's define that. Should I just call it sine star? Because I can. Why not? Given x, it's either -1 or 1. Am I being smart or silly with this? I just don't know. Let's not do that. Let's be consistent here. Okay, if x is less than 0, you give back -1. Otherwise, you give 1. That's sine star. All right, now we just do define intersections. I don't know what to call this. Circle, line, intersection. Sure. Okay, so if let's just do this, line, circle. So here we take A, B, and R. So A, B are the line points. In fact, maybe I should do it this way. Here's the same. So a line is 2 points in a list. I guess that's fine. Yeah, let's go with that. So the line you pass in and the circle you pass in. This assumes that the line and circle are translated appropriately already. So that's why you only need to pass in radius. You don't need to pass in the radius and the point. I could merge that into, no, I'll just keep doing it this way. All right, so now let's build a big let statement where I just gather all of the terms that I know I need. It's not too hard. You get all these different things here basically. So let's just go through it one little bit at a time. Let's get D first because that shows up first. Okay. D is the determinant from A and B. I think that's fine to do that. Let's let dy, well, let's do dx is the same as these things here, right? It's not any different. You know, we'll do capital D. It's not normal really to do that in Clojure code, but let's also copy this link. I just ported the solution presented here. Paste that in there. There. Now I've, of course, got the reference to where I actually got the stuff from, and I can go from there. So determinant dx dy. Let's get dr is distance AB. Is that everything? I've got that. I've got dy. Signs a function. dy I've got. dx I've got. R is given. dr I have. Determinant's good. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. Okay, so it's going to look messy, but sometimes math functions are a little hard to understand at first. So let's just comment x. We'll do that. And let's get this bad boy in there. Actually, before I do that even, I actually do need one more thing. I need the discriminant. I'm just going to call it the check. Ugh. I don't know if that's smart. But let's go with that. So that's useful for when I'm just trying to think about a clean way to handle the plus minus here. And what I suppose would be smart is to calculate this section of each of these. I think there's a name for it, but oh, what is that called? Is it called the discriminant as well? There's something to do with the quadratic formula. There's that one part, but I can't recall the mathematical term for it right now. But that's okay. What I'll do, this is just the first thing that comes to mind. It might not be good, but when check is greater than when check is greater than or equal to 0, then you can run your calculations. Otherwise, you just skip it all. right? Now I'm going to nest another let in here. This is where I'm not sure if this is smart. So I'm going to do the part of x, so this part here, and then the part of y, and then you can get different results because based on the plus minus. Right? PXA, PXB. PXA is easy. It's just d times dy. PXB is this whole thing. I mean, I could do this right away, can't I? I think I can do this right away. Divided by dr, dr. And then this thing is all some big thing. Dr, dr. I think that's correct. Okay, so let's focus on this part here, which is now this from the sine star up to this root thing. So let's go at it. Oh, hey, the discriminant shows up here. So that actually cleans that up just a bit. So here now it's, you want to multiply sine star of dy by dx by math/square root of check. Oh, that's pretty straightforward. Let's get that divide in there. One little downside of prefix notation is it can be a little hard to parse out math formulas, but that's just the price you gotta pay. PYA is very easy. You multiply negative determinant and dx, and then you divide it by same thing, dr squared. I wonder if this will actually work. I'm gonna stick through to the end to actually try it and map out something, and if it doesn't work, you know, that's just good reason for me to actually focus on the math a little more carefully. But you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Is that a relevant thing to say right now? I don't know. This one is just math abs of dy. Oh, let's bracket it properly. Bracket it properly. Times math/square root of check. Check, please. Check, please. There we go. Divided by dr, dr. Okay, so now I'm going to return the first point is made up of pxa plus pxb and pya pyb. I think that makes sense. And then the second point is just the minus. I think that's right. I'll have to check. But let's see what monstrosity I have wrought. All right, let's see if this will work. Ooh, okay. No. Is it math? Math / squirt. Oh, I didn't actually do this properly. This has to be plus, because you can't square root. There we go. That makes more sense. I think I missed something else later. Ooh. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. I goofed. I hate it when that happens. There we go. All right, let's try again. Determinant, distance, discriminant, sign star, intersection. Okay, they all compiled. Now let's see if I get a result that makes sense. There's no specific example here, so let me try to come up with one that will give obvious answers. Let's do radius 1, and we'll do a line from negative 5, 0, and 5, 0. So it's a horizontal line. So let's give that a try. Let's do L to C intersection, and the points I pass are, like I said, negative 5, 0. Oop, I have to do it in a list like this. And 5, 0. And then the radius is 1. So the intersection points should be negative 1, 0, and 1, 0. Hey, would you look at that? It actually worked. Sweet. So now, I think this might break it, but we'll find out. This should have only one result. 0, 1, 0, 1. Oh, cool. And then this should return nil. If I just make this 2, it actually works. That is cool. Right, so now let's wire this up and actually draw something out on here. Yeah, so what I'll do here when I draw something out, just trying to think about the okay, let's sanity check things for a moment here. Let's do let's get, you know what, let's make another one here. We'll do def intersection out, let's just call it out 2. Come on there. And let's copy this and right away delete most of it. Don't know why I even bothered to do that. Oops. Here we're gonna draw a circle and a line, and we're gonna get this intersection point rendered basically. So this circle and this line exist just as simple reference, and this circle here is going to be translated to the point that is calculated by line to C intersection of the line yeah, let's okay, well, I'm just gonna, this is what I know it will be. It'll be a line from 0, 0 to 300, 0. That's the line. And then the radius is the circle 233. So that's the translate, the original translate. And then I do also have to translate it 300, 300 to match the recentering I'm doing. There is a smarter way to do this, but this is the simple way to sanity check things. Oh, something's wrong here. Execution error. Does this return? Does this work? Let's try it. Yeah. Oh, of course. Oh, it's an infinite. Right. So here I actually want to just take first. Right. That's something I haven't considered. That is okay. Let's try that. There we go. Okay. Boom. We do indeed have the intersection point here. All right, it's working. Now, I'm getting a little tired. I think, you know what? I'm going to go for another probably 20 minutes or so, but I am going to take a quick break. I will be right back. I shall not be long. And then when I do get back, I want to modify, or I want to make a function that takes in just an SVG line element and an SVG circle element at arbitrary positions and calculates everything for me and draws the circle, the intersection circles for me as well. I think that'll make sense. And then I'll just kind of go from there, because what I need to do is make a looping structure that gets all of the points into just a flat sequence. I need to kind of map cat something. But anyway, quick break. I'll be back. All right, I'm running out of energy. I'm not going to stay for too much longer, but let's build a function that, excuse me, does take to, it takes a circle SVG element and a line SVG element, and then performs the intersection calculation. So let's do I don't know what to call it. So it takes a line and a circle. Should do, yeah, that's fine, like that. And then here, right away I want to destructure that, because what I need is, oh wait a second, this might not be as hard as I think. Circle center is just going to be, since I have the SVG library in here already, so if I do, say, translate circle of radius 10, right, if I do centroid of that translated circle, I get the center of the circle right away. Yeah. So using that, I actually can adjust the L to be, so transformed line is going to be translate I have V star in here, right? Yeah. I need to translate it by the negative of the centroid, so I'm just going to multiply -1 by CC. And then I'm going to translate line, so that's the new line. Then I can even, so if I have a line, let's get back to it here. Line 0, 0, 20, 20. If I do how does this work again? Let's do vals of get in 1. Oh wait a second, I can just do get vals of last of the line, right? Is that in the right order? Oops, I didn't change it the way I wanted to. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, using that, I can just do this. x1, y1, x2, y2. Vals last. This is a little roundabout, but it kind of works. Yeah, that'll be okay. Vals of last of transformed line. Then, oops. Okay, now let's build a little structure here. No, wait a second. Let's do intersection points is now L to C intersection of AB is going to be x1, y1, x2, y2. That's the line. Yeah, that should be fine. And then the radius. Oh, I haven't gotten the radius of the circle yet. Is just going to be R is get in map. So get in circle 1 R, right? That works. 1 R, I think that, yeah, that's what I need. Yeah. Here, then you just do R. So those are the I points. Then you just run for point into set I points. Whoops. For each of those, now I'm gonna draw this circle. Oh, also I'm gonna put it into a group. This is getting a little out of hand. It's not the cleanest approach by any stretch, but it is acceptable for now. Okay. Translate point. And this circle, should I make it, I'll make it lime green. All right, let's give that a try now. Let A be this circle. Oop, and B be this line. Now, render for me. I don't need this anymore. I also don't need this. Okay, now render for me the A and B and LCI of AB. Is it gonna work? It doesn't work. Has to be BA. Should maybe have it not be order dependent, but let's just leave it B for now. What? I wonder what's going on here. Did it work? It didn't work. Okay, what's going on? Once again, messing up the order. Come on here. Okay, it seems to work. There's 2 circles. Why does it not work? Oh, it might be working. I've forgotten one thing. Here, I need to translate all of this back by the centroid. So I have to do this. Translate to point and translate to CC. That should maybe fix it. Yeah, there we go. Cool, that works. All right, so that is really nice. Now, I wonder if I can use that more intelligently. Make this radius a bit bigger here of the circle, just for a little bit of visibility. Now what I'd like to do is try to run hello there, sorry, let me try to get your name here. Raskonikovsky. Sorry if I got that a little bit off there. I do my best, but sometimes it's hard to parse out the names. How are you doing? I hope you're well. No need to try it. I did my best. How are you doing today? You're fine? That's good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. How am I? I'm doing well. You know, I'm a little tired, but tired's not bad. I'm managing to get a bit of work done that I wanted to, so I'm feeling pretty good. Just probably want to take a nap once I'm done streaming, you know? But yeah, things are good with me. I'm in the middle of working on a little pattern here. So this image at the back here is like a tiling from a great hall at some place in England, and I'm trying to get the geometry to make some shape patterns. I make quilt patterns for well, my mom, she quilts, and I make the patterns sometimes. And this was a pattern that we were trying to just come up with. So I'm working on the geometry of it, and it's going reasonably well. That feels good. It looks pretty cool, in my opinion, obviously. Do you know anything about Clojure yourself? Just curious. It's interesting to hear where other people are coming from with in regards to programming knowledge and that sort of stuff. No Clojure? Do you do programming at all, or are you just tuning in for fun? You know a bit about Racket? Okay, cool. I don't know Racket all that much myself. It's on the list of things to try out and learn one day, but I don't know when that one day will be. You do programming? What do you do? All I know about Lisp was trying to read SICP, structure and interpretation of computer programs, right? That's what that is. You work at a university in Brazil. Ooh, cool. That sounds like fun. I'm assuming. I mean, you know, universities aren't nothing but they're not all fun, but they can be a lot of good fun. Mostly Python and JavaScript. Yeah, those would be the two. You can't go wrong knowing Python and JavaScript, right? So are you in like a research field at all? Yeah, it can't go wrong. Yeah. No, mostly web dev. Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, that's great. That sounds cool. Well, so I'm glad you tuned in, to this stream. I'm working on building up an audience over time. It's always fun to interact with people in chat, so I appreciate you chiming in. That's nice. I am not much of a web dev. It's a boring job, but I can do it while studying. Ah, okay. I gotcha. Fair enough. Yeah, I get that. Bit of web dev, it can kind of feel samey, I would imagine, kind of doing the same thing over and over again. Maybe not, I don't know. I don't want to assume what your work is like, but I'm not much of a web dev myself. I just use HTML and SVG to render graphics and documents and stuff. Not a ton more than that. I don't do masterful web app design or that sort of thing, The cooler stuff that I do is, if you permit me to show you for a second here. This is an old example. I'm more of a designer and engineer than web stuff. Oh, beach ball here. So this is an old document I wrote. This was when I was using Python. And I embedded a 3D viewer here of some of the parts I was designing. And this was just a silly design for a iPad stand that I made since disassembled, but I actually built it with a laser cutter and everything. So that's my level of web dev, if you will. It's a document more than anything. Oh, you were just looking at it. Oh, cool. It's nothing to to brag about a lot, but it's slowly I'm building up more stuff there. I need to give it some attention. But anyway, that's cool. Thanks for checking that out. But so you say web dev not particularly hard, but thanks to that you can pursue other interests. That makes sense too. Did you see this? This is my latest weird little project. I'm making a YouTube video about this, so I'm not going to get into tons of detail here, but it's based on a video game. You did not see this one? It's do you know the game Hades? It's really popular right now. This is a way to do exercises based on it. Where's the YouTube channel? Let me see if I can actually put a link in the chat. Give me 1 second. You'd think I'd be prepared, but sometimes I forget to do things, and coming up with quick links, apparently a thing I forgot. Give me a second. I will link it in the chat. I just need to get the link. No pressure to check it out, by the way. If you want to, you can. If you don't want to, that's totally fine too, It's up to everyone to make their own decisions. I don't know what I'm saying. Oh man, is it gonna load? Should put it next to the Twitter and GitHub. Oh, you know what? That's a really good point. I am actually gonna do this ASAP. I'm gonna give myself a little note here. Add YouTube link to Twitter/GitHub on site and on Twitch channel. There we go. I almost have the link. Almost have it. It's still pretty fresh. So I only have one programming video up there right now, and I've got another one that I'm editing when I'm not streaming. And so it's coming up, but it'll take some time. And let me paste Areno. Okay. That should work. Since I'm on mobile, it's a mobile link, but you can get rid of the M in the... Hopefully that works for you. So I do focus on Clojure a little bit more, but honestly, if you know how to do Python and JavaScript, if you give yourself just a bit of time to think about it, you will be able to understand Clojure. It's not like rocket science, so you'll be good. You will be good. Anyway, you know, I do appreciate you checking out some of the stuff on here. It's not there's work to be done. You're actually quite interested in Clojure? Oh, I'm glad to hear it. It's a fun language. I like it quite a bit. I think it's been my favorite programming language that I've learned, and I don't want to stop using it anytime soon. So I'm gonna keep on chugging with it. Okay. Have you done anything with Clojure at all, or just kind of starting to get into it now? I guess you answered that already. You haven't really, but you've got an interest in it. Yeah, okay. No, sorry. I'm trying to focus on two things at once here, and I'm asking you the same questions again. That's my bad. The plan for 2020 was Rust and Clojure. Ooh, man, I haven't done Rust myself yet. Another one on my list. So did you end up doing so 2020 is come and gone. Did you learn any Rust, or did things get crazy busy? Just the Rust part. Okay. Well, you know what? That's a great start. You can't go wrong. Sometimes things just take longer than you plan, right? 2021 can be the year of Clojure for you if you want it to be. I'm trying to think what like the best free resource for Clojure would be. If you're curious at all, you know, maybe you've already found it all. I think this one is no. Eric Normand. This is not him. Clojure. Boy. Here we go. Purelyfunctional.tv. He has, so Eric Normand is the creator of these video courses. And I've used some of them before. You have to pay for some of the courses. So maybe that's prohibitive for you. I don't know. Consider it. They're pretty good resources, and he's quite clear and he doesn't dumb things down, but he doesn't go over your head either. In my opinion, he's quite a good explainer and teacher. So if you're looking for something, purelyfunctional.tv, Eric Normand is a good place to start if you're interested. But, you know, no pressure that way either. Clojure for the brave and true. Yeah, you know what? That's also a fantastic one. Oh, I missed you said you have 2 Rust projects, an emulator and an interpreted programming language. Stopped in the middle, should go back eventually. Man, those 2 projects that you did in Rust sound really cool. And I don't know, I am the king of stopping in the middle when it comes to little side projects. So sometimes I feel bad about that, but other times I you know what? If it's a little side project, it's fine, you know? Sometimes life is busy and you have other things you want to do. But yeah, if you feel compelled to finish a project, I can promise you it does feel really good to finish things up. So either way, those projects sound really cool. And yeah, so Clojure for the brave and true. I've not read through the whole thing myself. I've read snippets. My personal take on it, I happen to find it's a little bit of jokey in nature. There's kind of some comedy and humor in it, which is really nice. But at some point, it just slightly felt like it was hard for me to think. I don't know. I found it just slightly distracting. It's not bad. It's very well written, and you can't go wrong with it. So, it's definitely good. But I don't know. I felt like the humor occasionally got in the way a little bit of me trying to understand it. That's probably more a me problem than a problem with the book, right? But you cannot go wrong with that either. Sounds like you've got a good plan in there. So by the way, don't give it a try anyway. This is literally only my opinion, right? It's certainly not bad. It was just, maybe I don't know, maybe I was just frustrated and it was me not being able to understand things, not that the humor was in the way. I don't know. Give it a try. You can't go wrong. I promise you that. And of course, just spend some time with it, I can only encourage you to learn Clojure. I'm obviously biased, but it's fun. Usually prefer text resources rather than videos. Oh yeah, 100% me too. The YouTube videos I'm making usually prefer text resources than you're correcting yourself. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much, but THEN is correct in that case. But yeah, no worries. Typos and incorrect language is very common always, so don't worry about it. What was I saying? Was I saying anything important? I don't think so. Oh yeah, as for learning, I think you're right. I also prefer text-based things because you don't have to pause text. You can just leave it there. You can read it. You can think about it. You can reread it. You can reference it. You could search it. It's really powerful. Right. And then my YouTube videos, they are programming related, but they're not so much intended to be here is how you learn Clojure. It's more here is how I used Clojure to do a project. So it's a little more show and tell, a little less teaching, if that makes sense. So don't, you can watch my videos if you want, but don't feel like I'm gonna be some amazing teacher necessarily. So that's the little caveat to to my channel. It's more entertainment, slightly informative than other things, I like text because I always end up watching the videos in 2 times velocity, so it's more practical. Yeah, that makes sense. It depends on the, I don't watch, if I watch, say, a programming talk, I like to watch it at 1.25 times speed, but I don't usually go to videos for learning details. I go to videos for seeing general approaches or for inspiration, that kind of stuff. I think that makes sense. Anyway, sounds like you know how to learn programming languages and you know where you want to go. That's the points you've brought up make a lot of sense. So it sounds like you're, with the right time and focus, you'll be a Clojure expert in no time. Let's see here. It makes sense? Oh, thanks. Oh boy. I gotta get going soon. I'm gonna give myself maybe 10, 15 minutes. What should I do in that amount of time? That's my next thought here. I want to see. I'm I'm just trying to think about how to render this in a nice way. I'm gonna pop this out of this group tag here. I don't know that this will actually still render the way I want it to, but let's find out. It does. Okay, so now if I eval the ring here in the REPL, I meant to do ring does it give me, yeah, so it's a little hard to follow here, but what I've just done, I'm just using the REPL here to kind of check my data structures. This ring function here makes a ring of circles, and now what I wanted to happen, it does. It just returns a sequence of circles. So what I want to try and do now is, for that sequence of circles, run the intersection rendering with the same line. So if it works the way I'm thinking, I should get a whole bunch of green dots at the intersections. Oh, wait a second, I have to do it. Well, okay, let's not overcomplicate it. I have the ring. Let's do this. Let's let coming up with names for these things is kind of a pain sometimes, because this is sort of throwaway code in a sense, so I don't need to worry too much about names, but I still do. So this A is going to actually be this here, this ring function in the let here. I'm going to render it once here. Normally, that's going to just be A. Can pop that onto one line. This image, I'm going to leave it commented for now. And since A is just a sequence, I wonder if I should actually just wrap it like that, maybe. Group A, yeah, that's fine. This circle can stay there. Okay. What I'm going to try is LCI with this line, and oh no, this is slightly wrong. I have to do map LCI. Let's do a LCI with this line and the variable here. I'm not making a lot of sense right now. My apologies. My ability to explain things decreases the more tired I get. I don't know if this is going to render, but I'm going to try it. It's broken. All right. All good? Okay. Do you know what map means when I talk about that? So if I let's take, I'll try to explain something for a minute. I'm sure it's not too hard to follow, but I'll just use this as a really simple. Oh, you're good to go. You got it. Clojure uses lazy sequences, and map inc over that whole thing will run that function over all of the elements of it. You already know what I'm talking about, so that's all good. All I'm doing here is mapping. I want to check the intersection points of this line on every circle in that list, basically, and I'm just trying to assemble it properly. But I do believe I missed something there. This might work. It does not. I love it. might be that I need to wrap it there like that. I'm kind of grasping at straws at the moment. Nope, that didn't solve it. Okay, I'm going to have to figure that out a little bit. Map, reduce, filter, I know most of these. Yeah, those are core super powerful functions in Clojure. I mean, Clojure is a functional programming language first, right? So it's very obviously going to have map, reduce, and filter. They're kind of important. And they're really fun. I like them a lot. Now, I'm not necessarily doing everything in a super functional way. Like so I'm using for loops and stuff. I'm thinking about this in a slightly imperative fashion, but Clojure has immutable data structures, which makes it still easy at least to create pure functions. Even if you write them in kind of an imperative approach, the function itself ends up being a nice simple unit. So, at least you get that. What time do I have? I gotta get going in like 5 minutes, but I want to see what I did wrong here for a moment. I think that as long as the function is pure, everything is good. Internal mutability is not a problem. You're mostly right. I think it can become a problem if you're trying to do async and like parallel programming stuff. It might be kind of a problem in those circumstances, but Clojure has good guarantees about that kind of stuff. So you're more or less correct that you can kind of treat the internals of a function in a mutable kind of way. But I think, now I'm not an expert in that, right? So a little bit of this is off the top of my head, but yeah, there's even libraries in Clojure that try to speed up functions by using Java mutability on the internals of the function to go really, really quick for certain operations. And then it's it's wrapped mutability. So from the outside, the black box that is the function behaves in a totally immutable fashion, but there's tons of mutation under the hood. And you get some pretty fast performance when you use those libraries. But that's a little bit beyond my pay grade, to be totally honest. As much as possible, I try to stick to the core library, some very simple data manipulation, and not going too crazy with super optimization, because often you don't even need it. It's very cool. Yeah, Clojure and a lot of the people who contribute to Clojure by writing libraries it's fantastic language, thoughtful people, and cool ideas. Those are the things that I really love about Clojure. And, with enough patience and time, I hope I can be part of that in a useful way, Most of the time, readability is more important than performance. Yeah, that's true a lot of the time. I try to balance readability and a sensible approach to performing a solution in code, but it can be a hard balance sometimes. I think it's a practice thing, but readability, very important. I'm going to just run this in the REPL, see what's going on, leave myself a little note, and then I am going to have to get going very soon. So that's just the way that's going to have to be. Let's try map LCI with the line. And that line I tried to run was 300, 300. 300, 600. Yeah. Map that function over the result of ring 144.5 and 152.5. What is this spitting out? Huh. Well, that's why it's not rendering, because there's nothing there. They're just empty group tags. Okay, so what did I just do? What happened? I love it. Are they all empty? Huh. I would have expected at least one of the circles to have an intersection point. So what's happening here, right, is I'm pushing them into a group tag. Oh, do I have to do map cat? No, that's not what I'm after either. Well, let's change this up just a little bit here. Let's try one more thing. Excuse me. One more thing and then I gotta go. Okay, so let's run the line, circle, intersection. We'll run it with the same line, 300, 300, 600, 300. And then we'll run it with the first circle off of the ring function. What is it? I'm going loopy here, 152 and a half. Okay, let's give that a shot. It's empty. Okay, so let's render these now, because I thought that would have an intersection for sure, but it's obviously not doing that. So let's get rid of this. Oh, wait a second. Undo that. Let's just render that line. Get rid of this. Okay. And then here, I want to actually just render first. Thank you very much. There we go. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to solve this later. I gotta get going now, but what I kind of expected was that the line was treated as an infinite line and it would draw an intersection point here and also on the other side of the circle here. So I'm doing something wrong. But that's going to be a problem for another day. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate that. Maybe I'll see you around. So I stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday around the same time. No pressure for anyone, of course. You know, tune in or don't. It's always up to you guys. But I always enjoy it when people chat for a bit. It's always fun to hear what other people have going on, you know? Yeah, that's all I got. I hope you have a good day, night, week, all of that. I hope you stay safe and healthy if you can manage it. That's all from me. I'm going to get going. Bye. Have a good night. Yeah, you too. All right, I'm out.